Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Good evening, everyone. We'd like to call this meeting of the Horn Lake Board of Aldermen to order. At this time, we would like to ask, Alderman Bledsoe, unfortunately, is ill. Is there anyone who'd like to volunteer to do the invocation? Alderman Johnson.
Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come this evening to say thank you. Lord God, thank you for all the many blessings that you have allowed us to have. Lord, we ask for a special blessing for those who are in need right now. Sometimes we take so much for granted, Lord Jesus, and we ask that you just help us to be mindful of those who are in need, Lord, those who are crying out for you. Lord, we ask for a blessing for our community. Lord, help us to help one another. Lord, help us to be about your business and let those who may not know you see you in us. Bless our city, bless our affairs, bless this business that we're about to handle. These things I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Alderman. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman David Young.
Hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank all of y'all. Roll call, please, Miss Julie.
Alderman Klein.
Here.
Alderman Guy.
Here.
Alderman Bostic.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Dupree.
Here.
Alderman Young.
Here.
We have a quorum. At this time, number one on the agenda is the vote on the municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Miss Julie.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Number two, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through N.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Miss Julie.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Number three is the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the claims docket, general fund, $524,261.05. The library fund, $2,176.66. The economic development fund, $16,008.73. The utility fund, $39,151.54, for a total docket of $581,597.98.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Klein. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Number four, special guest and presentation is Mr. Michael Bernard, SPOA. Alderman Geis has requested we move this down to the last because the gentleman cannot get on the phone until 7:30. Is there any objection?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Andrew, number five, planning, this is all yours.
We do not have a case for the board today. The one that's going to be here next meeting had to go through the planning commission first. That was the revisiting the medical cannabis dispensary opening and closing times, and that'll be here for the next meeting.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Andrews? All right, number six, new business. A resolution for cleaning private property, that's a public hearing, which I now declare open. There's some properties listed here that have not been maintained properly. The city is seeking the authority to clean them. Does anyone here have any comments to make about these properties? Anyone on the board? All right. Declare this public hearing now closed. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Boston.
make a motion to approve the resolution for cleaning the private property of the two addresses listed on this plan.
We have a motion by Alderman Boston. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Letter B is discussion of the new animal shelter project. Is this related to
No,
Mr.
sir.
Bernard? All right,
No.
all right, Alderman Young.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I won't take too long. Clear the air on a couple of things. To date, so far, $171,420.76. This little piece of information that we got here from Mr. Bernard cost us $900.09 per page. And I believe if we're not, use them out if you want to, but I believe we talked about soft costs not being included in any of this, didn't we, Mr. Alderman Geis?
We've been paying soft costs as we went along.
No, I'm talking about in the final numbers of the building.
There's, if you look at that, there's, Mayor, can I
Yes,
respond to that?
Sure, absolutely, I'm asking a question.
If you look at that, there's two different things there. You got one, the estimated cost of the construction of that facility, which was right at 4.8, 4.9. Then there's an estimated soft cost additional to that. Still, if those are all eventually paid, that puts us $500,000 below our budget. But all along, we've been paying parts of that soft cost, toward the architectural fees and all that. We signed a contract with them where it was everything we've been billed so far is listed in how much we were gonna pay. So the money that we've spent so far is not that 22-page piece of.
No, you're right. This is $20,000 though.
No,
Yeah,
actually not.
it is. I've got the invoice.
Let's
Anyway.
let's remain civil. When
Yeah,
one has
and
the floor,
I have the floor, so.
when one has the floor.
We don't, I didn't realize we was paying for curtain rods, shower seats, and shower grab bars, and rob hooks, and towel bars, and refrigerators, dryers, washers, microwaves, under-counter refrigerators. I know for a fact we didn't say we wanted wall hydrants or hose reels, wall mounted swing brackets, or $41 spray nozzles, a miscellaneous valve for $5,000. Interesting. My point is, hopefully, we're able to understand that A&E is not considered part of the soft costs. That is the cost of doing business with these individuals. Soft costs are things that we have instructed that we don't need him filling out the inside of the building, anything inside the building, no furniture, we don't need any of that. That's what we talked about at the meeting that he charges $20,000 come over here for. He wasn't supposed to be, we say, if you remember the sheet that I looked at, please get out your $2,500 thing. The sheet that we talked about, if you remember, Mr. Geis, that I handed you, I went down through there and marked out $863,000 worth of soft cost. And you said, oh, that's really good, you saved that much money. Well, they're all in here. They're all in here. As a matter of fact, I'm even looking at under soft cost professional services, architectural engineering fees, 8% is $398,000. This is his proposals. And then right down below that in H, architect and engineering allowance is $12,000, and then architect and engineering reimbursable expenses, which is another 10%, is $40,000. for a grand total of they come near $500,000. I understand the man's gotta make money. I understand that completely, but one of the biggest questions that I've got is if he can come up with this, why can he not provide us a cost-per-cost analysis that tell us the plane flight cost this and my hotel rooms cost, and this is how I got to $20,000, without just coming up and saying, oh, you signed a contract that said I could charge you that much. If I go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac and I want extra sauce on it, guess what they give me? An invoice with the extra sauce on it. It's real simple. It's not this is supposed to be really, really good. And everybody sitting at this table, last time I checked, is supposed to be looking out for the well-being of the citizens of Horn Lake. We're sitting here looking at $13 million. $13 million for this animal shelter. Right now, we paid him $171, which, you know, that's what we agreed to. And I know Mr. Jim's not here, but if you look at this little sheet right here, you can figure this out, which I'm sure you probably can. We're $90,000 positive for 2023 in our taxable sales tax collections. Last year was $857,000. That's a difference of $766,000. So if you add this 171 to it, we're almost $1 million into our general budget that we didn't have budgeted. I don't know where we're going to get this extra money next year when people starting to scream and holler for pay raises. We're in a position right now to where, do we need an animal shelter? Yeah, we sure do. Do we need a $6-7 million after whatever change orders that are going to come down the line? No, I don't think we do. And yeah, I did vote for it. Yeah, I sure did, but it's not a political move. It's a common sense move to back up and look at this because something just ain't jiving. We're putting way too much money out for something that right now with the numbers we're looking at, we can't afford. We can't afford it. It's simple dollars and cents. It's not any attack on Michael Bernard. Yes, we did agree to this, and I don't have a problem with him. We just cannot afford to continue to spend $6 million. I made a statement about cutting the animal shelter down and looking at twice of what Hernando did. And your comment was, well, we can only put so many dogs in there. Well, you don't need 2 offices, you don't need 4 bathrooms. I'm talking about the total square feet. About 7,500 to 8,000 square feet is about what we can afford. We really need to take the best effort of the people of Horn Lake and spend their money wisely. Because I don't know where we're going to get $13 million between now and 34 to pay this thing back. We don't have it now.
Alderman Young, let me make sure that tonight, what you're requesting is you would like to see receipts for each day.
Exactly right. For this $171,000.
You would like to see receipts.
I'd just like to see a basic breakdown. It costs this much to do this, $20,000. I've worked on a lot bigger projects than this, and I know you have with the school board and this, that, and the other. There has never in my professional career been anybody in an architectural or engineering firm that has gotten paid until we approved what they did. We hadn't approved anything this guy does. We just get invoices. Did we approve anything?
Yeah.
Other than using it? No.
Well, I know Alderman Geis wants to have some remarks, and I know Alderman Klein
Sure.
wants to. You still have the floor. Are you?
I'm not done. I figured it's gonna be a tango. But, this has gotten down to the brass tacks. And it's only common sense. It's not Common Core math. Yes, we do need an animal shelter. Yes, we need to do that. But when you build this thing, and apparently, the understanding still hadn't hit home with some folks. When you build this thing, you're going to have to hire twice what we've got now. Well, every time we hire a new employee, we're looking at about $100,000, just for mathematical purposes. You know, it's going to go up a little bit more in the next few years when PERS and all that stuff comes to roost, but that's when we got to look at it. Now, I understand some people said they're not running next time, and you know, they're probably not thinking down the road what's best for Horn Lake, and that's fine, that's their priority. I only got one vote. That's fine. But I'm looking down the road, whether I win, lose, or draw, it doesn't really matter. At what, because I was hired to make sure that we spend the money good, spend the money right. This is not right. We continually throw money after money after money. We're $1 million, almost $1 million into our general fund budget, more than what we budgeted for. And we hear a lot of budgets when these people start talking about things, start hearing a lot about budgets. And yeah, if we can get the money back through the bond, we have to borrow money to get it. You can't never borrow money to get out of debt, but that's what we want to do. It just does not make common sense. It's too much money. The city cannot afford it. The numbers support that. 5 more people is $500,000 on top of what we think is going to be in the animal shelter. And we know how bad some of the aldermen hate change orders. We haven't even gotten to that phase yet. And the last thing I want to say about this product here, that Mr. Bernard, if you look at this from outside and you come back and you look in instead of trying to take his side of it or help him with it or whatever you want to consider yourself doing, this here is nothing more than a speculation. And the last time, I believe at the last meeting, we said something about architects and engineers. They don't sign off on speculation. Ladies and gentlemen, all we have here is somebody trying to say, this is why I'm charging you what I'm charging you. That's all this thing is. This money is going to come out of whoever wins the bid. He puts concrete in here at X number of dollars. By the time this bid comes up, whether it's a year from now, 6 months from now, or 2 years from now, whenever these numbers come up, we may be in a totally different economy. It could be better, or it could be worse. These are not factual. These are dream work. Thank you, sir.
All right, before we go any further, I would respectfully ask the board that we don't make any motions tonight or take a vote, because Mr. Jim is not here. So I figured, and Alderman Bledsoe is not here. And so I would think, now, Alderman Geis had his hand up first. Alderman Geis.
Well, there's a lot to touch on there, but I'll just make it quick. What he's waving around there is a cost estimate for us to be able to determine a price range of this shelter. There is not an architect alive today or banker that can tell us a to the penny amount this thing is going to cost when it's over. It's a range. Included in that, he has a list of this is what it's estimated to cost to build these shelter, construction costs. Then there's a second list of potential soft costs. It doesn't mean that SPOA is going to come in and do those. It's just, hey guys, this is additional cost in addition to the cost of construction. That's all that is. There isn't a professional services out there from engineers, lawyers, to anybody that doesn't charge us for their work. I've looked, we have invoices coming through here from professional services every board meeting. I look at the invoices, I look at the amounts. It's not broke down to pencils and how many minutes I spent on this and that. What the invoices they give us, and if I can, I would like to show an invoice.
Yes, sir.
If our computer guy can do that for us. It has a total amount, and it will say like schematic design, and it has an amount which was in the contract. If you look under schematic design in the contract, it breaks down by line item what each thing was done in that process. That's why SPOA is saying, if you look at the contract, it breaks down what this is. To me, if I'm getting charged $19,000 for electrical schematics, what I expect to see is a tangible electrical schematic. I don't expect that electrical engineer to break down that invoice on, I spent this many minutes on this light socket. That doesn't happen. That is not reality. We can argue over cost and all that stuff. That is a reasonable thing. Hernando's shelter, which has been brought up, is $1.2 million for a 5,000 square foot building that holds 18 dogs. 1.2 for 18 dogs. So we're talking a building that will ultimately hold 110, 60-something adoptable dogs, I forgot, 20, 30 cats, medical stuff, quarantine, all the things a properly built shelter needs. So somebody can say we got a $20,000 invoice for that. We can say there's the infamous $14,000 invoice that we got charged for a 2-day meeting of eight hours total in a Zoom meeting. I have on here that invoice where it's broke down, and it clearly states out of that $14,000 what we were charged for that 2-day meeting. I showed it to the mayor the other day, and it clearly states $2,500 out of that $14,000. So we're entitled to our opinion, but we aren't entitled to our own facts. And the fact is that we weren't charged $14,000 by SPOA for a 2-day meeting. We were charged $2,500 for 2 professionals to come here and meet with us. Aircraft, flight, hotel, room, the food, all that stuff. To me, that's not that expensive. And we are in a different economy. $4.8 million for a 15,000 square foot properly built building that's designed with the majority of it in there for those animals, from proper air circulation, the floors slanted the right way for the water to run out, to keep the odor out, prevent disease spreading and all that stuff, is not that very expensive in 2023, 2024 dollars. My house cost $189,000 when I bought it back in 2000. It's now valued almost $400,000. It's the same house. Things are more expensive now. I don't like the fact that things are more expensive, but we need the shelter, and if we're going to spend the money, we need to do it properly. And Mayor, who needs to get this?
I guess the computer man.
Where's he at? Can he hear us?
It was.
Yeah.
Mayor?
Well, let's go,
Okay, I just wanted to,
yeah, he's got the floor.
that's fine, but he said I could.
All right.
Yeah, I
Ma'am?
don't have,
Ma'am?
this is back.
You yield the floor?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yeah.
yes.
I got an email here from Michael that said he was not able to show the breakdown at any point in time because the contract didn't allow him to build that way. I believe you got that email too, didn't you? I did. So it's pretty amazing that he sent it to you, but he wouldn't send it to us when we requested it. So if it was only $2,500 for him to come here, what the hell did we pay $20,000 or $2,500? What did we pay $20,000 for that meeting?
It's the one that says invoice.
Yeah. Well, I've got the same thing you're looking at right there now. So it's just two sides to every story here.
That's why I said, we just hit the high point.
Yeah.
Because we
just keep
really
the high
need
points.
Mr. Jim here, and we certainly don't want a motion on this
No.
much money and all the Bledsoe
Question.
fees. This large a project, it needs to be voted on by the full board.
Right.
Excuse me.
Okay, this is an example of the invoice we get. You can see there's a breakdown of the total fee, like schematic design. Total fee could be up to $80,000. To this date, 100% of it's been spent, and it goes. If you look under our contract, it tells all the steps that they have gone through in schematic design. But the question is on the reimbursable expenses. That's where you're going to see the travel expenses. So you see this is an invoice of $14,587.68. $2,774.95 of that $14,000 is reimbursable expenses. Can you scroll down to the second page of this? Okay. If you see October 5th, 2023, Michael Barnard traveled to Horn Lake, Mississippi, flat rate, design development meeting trip, $2,500. Now, I'll leave that to everybody to determine if we got charged $14,000 for that trip or if we got charged $2,500. Now, we may have an issue, some people might, with the whole $14,000, and that's fine. But to say we got charged $14,000 for that trip is simply not true.
What's the rest of it?
If you go back up, okay, you've got current amount due. There was $12,000 in design development. Okay, we got the designs at that meeting. We had those 2 meetings we had, and the day that we did the Zoom meeting, right after that, we had probably 52 pages of designs that we looked at as a committee. So that's what we got charged for. I'm not an architect. I have no clue. But I somehow don't think if you're building a professionally built building and you're designing it, that $12,000 for that is an outrageous amount. It sounds reasonable to me. Even with our remodel of this building, which is a separate project, but on the same bond issue, we spent close to $3 million to remodel this building, and we have an architect that we are paying to operate and control this remodel. They planned it out, they designed it, and they charged us a fee, a certain percentage of that. I asked Jim, and he thought it was around 5-6%. What we're 7%. We're being charged 10%, I believe, by SPOA to design a building from the ground up, which is 8%. So I was even wrong on that. So to me, this all isn't unreasonable. It's a bigger, more complicated project that requires more work than a remodel. So it's a valid argument that he has. We can disagree on it, that at this point that we can't afford this. It's a reasonable opinion. I have a different opinion on it, but that's, like he said, everybody has a vote. But the public listens to these meetings, and they expect us to provide accurate information. And this right here, this claim about a $14,000 2-day visit has been all over the internet in 2 or 3 meetings, and the public believes that we got charged $14,000 for a $2,500 meeting.
Mayor?
No,
Mayor?
yes.
When other gentlemen,
I'm
I
not.
respect both of y'all, but this is not gonna turn into.
No, it's not.
No,
No, sir, I wouldn't do it. I'm just, a couple questions. One, so we got $2,500 for his travel here, but yet we got an invoice for $14,587. Okay, I looked at every invoice that Mr. Bernard has sent us since he started, all the way back. You know what they all said? Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. The only thing different was the invoice amount and the amount that he did on. So it doesn't make any sense. The P's are not adding up. And the other part of it is we got $5 million in this contract here, the 8% fee, as Mr. Billy said. So that's $400,000. Well, just pointed out that he's including all these soft costs in there, so I actually think he's overcharging us a little bit on his percentage, which we'll get to that later. His hourly rate's $140 an hour. That's fair. Mr. Billy, when you submit us an invoice, does it have your work hours on there?
It does.
Your billable hours?
It does.
Now, that's professional services right there. That's all we're asking for.
I will say, I'm atypical, though.
I understand
I
that.
spend too much
I
time
understand.
on my.
I agree.
admit
But
that.
why are you atypical in that? Because no questions come up.
I don't want questions.
That's exactly right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
On your
Thank you,
invoices,
Alderman.
do you break it down to, I spent 2 minutes on this particular thing, 3 minutes on this pencil is so much on paper, printer cartridges?
Almost.
That you do?
I'm atypical. I'm not the good example. I literally
So-
live my life in 6-minute increments year round.
Well, that's actually.
You know, Mike, I agree with what you're saying, all except for a couple of things. If Mr. Bernard would have, at my first request over 3 months ago, just sent us a handwritten and said, $140,000 or $14,000, this is just what I did. It includes this, this, and this, and $2,500 of that was travel. You know what? We wouldn't be having this conversation. But I feel, us as a board, we need to tell the people exactly what they're spending their money on. Exactly. And what he's providing us ain't floating the boat in my world. He's still billed $14,000, even though he wants you to say he only $2,500. It's $14,587. That's what he billed us for that trip. We had this invoice before he got on the airplane. So we can argue $2,500 all day long. But if you go back and look at every invoice that he sent us, the numbers are daggum near the same. The only thing different is what to do on this invoice.
I would say it would be, because if you see, it says fee basis, fixed fee for each task. You've got the task listed with the amount in the contract that we started with that we could be billed. And as he bills us, it invoices and the
Agreed.
percentage goes up and the remaining balance goes down, okay? So we did get a $14,000 invoice before the visit, but we didn't get charged $14,000 for the visit. We got charged $12,000 for the design development. And if you look in the contract under design development, it tells you what the steps were in every item in that. Again, I'm not an architect. I don't know what it takes to develop a design. I can barely draw a stick figure. But I just don't think that's unreasonable, because over the years I've voted to pay for stuff that professional services done, roads, bridges, whatever, and all of it seems really expensive to me, but I don't assume it's that we're getting ripped off. I just don't. We've worked on this project around a year and a half. All of the delays have been on the part of us, not SPOA. They hadn't charged us an extra dime for us being slow, and we've gone back and forth and debated the design of the building. The biggest delay, I think, was on the land. But here we are. We're almost completely done with what we're going to pay SPOA. Their part of it is almost done and paid for. And we're a few weeks away from going to bid on this project. So by voting eventually one way or the other, if we vote no and say, thanks, we appreciate it, we have thrown almost $400,000 of taxpayer money down the drain to start over again, which makes absolutely no sense to
I
me.
think we're going back and forth now,
Yeah.
so when you,
I'm done.
all right, Alderman Klein.
I had a question. Alderman Young had threw out the number 13 million twice. Where are you going?
That's what it's gonna cost us to pay the bond back for this building.
13 million.
$13 million.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask you a question? I think the 13 million is including the money.
That's the bond. That's what it's
That's
gonna
the
cost to pay
bond,
the bond back.
that's City Hall and everything.
Right. So it's still gonna cost us, even with that, it's still gonna be $13 million is what we're gonna have to pay back because of the $6 or $7 million here on this that we're talking about. But if I may, you said we agreed to pay him $400,000 for his part in this. We've only paid him $171,000. So the fact is, no, we're not real close to finishing paying him what he's due. We still have almost $230,000 hanging out there over our head we would do ourselves real good by firing this company and starting all over again and saving ourselves $3 million.
All right, I think Alderman Klein has his hand up.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Well, I wanna go back to, now our committee, which I think, Mike, you're on that committee, Alderman Young, and who else is, the third person? Alderman Dupree?
No, I think with it, Bledsoe.
On which one? Shelter?
On the shelter.
No, he's on
that
it.
committee, you're on that committee.
I'm on the committee, but I never could make the The meetings doesn't work.
I mean, in the conversation that come across, it sounds like y'all are making decisions that we're not able to vote on at the board on some of the stuff that when I hear, and y'all cutting stuff and everything, and when we first approved all this, we voted on what we all approved, so I would think, Mr. Campbell, that they would have to come back before the board and make any changes, make any cuts, would they not?
If it gets substantial, they would, but I think the board's marching orders were, we want a building designed and built under the original cost estimate that SPO gave us, which was around $5.8 to $6 million. So long as they're staying within that, there's no action.
There's no reason that they need to come back and change, okay. I just, for the public, understand, that what we're discussing, that everything's been approved.
Right now, we're in the construction documents phase.
Right.
Mike kind of alluded to that on the chart up there. So when we do get to a final version of construction documents, I do expect them to bring that back before the board for approval.
Yes.
Just like the board approved the City Hall renovations project before it went out to bid.
And which, that should be coming up, so will y'all have another committee meeting?
Well,
We meet
what
on
we're,
that?
we're waiting on the construction documents now, so there's nothing really for the group to meet over. And what the committee did was, it was more than us on the committee. It was the former animal shelter director, the current one, Miss Kelly, a rescue representative, Jim, and Miss Linville. And we kicked around a bunch of different designs and started out bigger and went smaller and changed things around. So, the committee's worked hard on this project here. And despite what we're doing here today, it wasn't fighting in there either. We may have disagreed on specific things in it, but so what we did was, with the costs going up because of the economy, we started reducing things and things that we wished we had as opposed to things that we needed, and whittled it down to, even though we had an amount of $6 million, we wanted it below 5 because of, you don't know what could happen.
Right.
You don't want change orders, but as we know, stuff happens. Cost of stuff goes up. We're optimistic that a couple of companies have already kind of looked at the cost estimate and stuff and thought they could actually come in lower than the estimate. So, at the moment, minus soft costs, we're sitting about 1.1 million below budget. So, which rarely happens that I know of in government. But I hope that answers your question.
So, with him saying something about 13 million for the cost for the total bond, we're discussing also the city part. Now, on the city part, I was under the impression we're gonna come out of the budget on the city part also.
That's what we're shooting for, and that's the last I heard. That's why I requested the board, before we start making final decisions and really get off into the nitpicking on this, have Mr. Jim here, because he's more familiar with the cost of the renovations as they go on. And then we'll have all the Bledsoe, he'll hopefully be well by then too. But, has anybody else got anything to say on this?
I can answer, just real quick, I can help Alderman Klein here with this question. The amount borrowed, or the amount proposed to borrow is $8.875 million. The animal shelter is $6 million, city hall improvements are 2.5, which they're actually coming in less than that. The cost of the insurance of it is $373,000 and change, rounding, $1,937. All right, so that will put us, you take out the $2,500, 2.5 million, just use that for mathematicals. Take that out of the 13 at 4.9, I believe that's what we were doing. 4.75, you're looking at pulling $696,000 interest off the 13,208 for the 2 million. The rest of it will be the animal shelter. So that's going to be a little over $11 million payback on the animal shelter.
Which you have to include on that
Soft cost,
2.5,
everything.
you got to figure the interest on that.
But you got to figure the interest on that. You're welcome to look at it, sir, if you'd like to. Sure.
No,
Okay.
no.
But it's gonna be somewhere in the 10, high tens, mid 11 payback on that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. The point is still, you can't borrow your way out of poverty. Yes, we're gonna have to pay this money back that we're pulling out. It's gonna have to go back, but that's just gonna put less in the animal shelter. But we're still gonna have to pay it back. So, there's a lot of things to be looked at. I do agree with some of Mr. Geis's points. I do agree with it. We do have a difference of opinion, but, sitting here speculating again on what it's gonna cost us so you can validate your fees is not really what I consider productivity.
Well, I think this has been a good discussion. I think this lays the groundwork for the next meeting or the second meeting in January, because I know some of the other board members now have concerns and issues. And I think this will give them food for thought. Alderman Dupree.
My question is, that $171,000 came out of our general budget. When we get the bond, is that $171,000 as of right now? Will that go back into our general budget from the bond?
Yes.
So we're getting paid back?
You'll actually be 400,000.
Yeah, 400,000, that's why I said 171 now.
Yeah, we did the same thing for the City Hall project too. We had to pay some architectural fees on that project before we issued the bond, and general fund got paid back for those expenses.
Okay, so we're gonna be paid back before anything else is paid out of that bond.
Say that again now?
We're gonna be paid back out of the bond money. We're gonna be paid back first
Sure.
before anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it can be automatic. As soon as we close on the second series of that bond issue for the animal shelter project, whenever that wire hits your bank account, the general fund can get paid back that day.
Yeah, because that needs to go back in the city.
Well,
That's
I
what I was
think it
worried
seems
about.
like to me the biggest issue that we have right now is considering soft cost. Because, and I can see both points on that. I see, I thought the committee decided that we, and of course, that's what we're gonna do anyway. Our fees to SPOA are not to pay them for the washers and dryers and anything. They put an estimate on there. But, if I understand it correctly, they're basing their fees on what they think that soft cost is gonna be. So that can be a good discussion. Alderman.
It's Mr. Barnard calling.
Sir?
Mr. Barnard.
Oh, yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, sir. Okay, I'll give you some details. Yes, sir. He hasn't gotten sent the link to be able to call in.
All right, where's Mr. Jonathan? There he is. But anyway, I hope the board members have
There's that thing, you can have that. I got another one.
basis for their questions. If you have questions, the next time we put it on the agenda, either for the first or second month in January. And I appreciate Alderman Geis and Alderman Young and Alderman Dupree and Alderman Klein. especially Alderman Geis and Alderman Young, because I know y'all disagree on certain things. I appreciate your civil behavior tonight toward each other and the respect you show each other. I appreciate it very much. Sir?
I was gonna say, you're correct, on the soft cost, that is, estimated soft cost that we could accrue no matter whose pays for it. So,
Alderman Guys.
But
Michael
I think
Barnard,
the point was that we're gonna
1980
have to pay 8% on the estimate for the soft cost.
That's
But, all right. Okay, we just
Yeah,
paying
you just
8%.
pay 8% on the
Construction.
construction cost for
Construction.
Okay. All right, so let's move on then. Is everybody through? But I thank everybody for the civil discourse, especially in this day and age. It's easy to get off. All right, letter C. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, make approval, we approve the payment for pay application number 4 to Murphy and Sons Incorporated, amount of $208,724.50 for the City Hall renovation.
All right, we got a motion by Alderman Young. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Dupree. Do we have a discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Julie.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Johnson. Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
6 in favor, 1 absent. Number 7, citizens' remarks. Do we have anybody on the list? We have none. Number 8, Mayor Alderman correspondence. I would like to thank everybody in every department for their hard work in the Christmas program at the park. It was absolutely first class. Everybody had a great time. Santa and Mrs. Santa even made a special trip to come to Horn Lake for it. And the police department, the fire department, public works, parks, animal, everybody went out of the way to make it a fun event for our citizens. And I certainly do appreciate it, and I know they do. I've heard nothing but positive remarks. Secondly, I like to wish each and every one of you and your loved ones a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Alderman Klein, do you have anything?
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a healthy New Year and a prosperous one, and let Shonda know that we're thinking of her during this first Christmas without a mom.
Yes.
And definitely have her in our prayers.
Thank you. Alderman Dupree, do you have anything?
I also want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and just want to be safe and just thank God for the reason is Jesus. That's the number one reason we celebrate Christmas. I should celebrate Christmas. He's our salvation, and we should give him praise for it.
Alderman Young.
Just ditto, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, all that good stuff. The park was absolutely amazing. Your people are to be commended for that. Wherever Mr. Fox went, your people as well. Thank you, everybody who came out there. Thank you, Chief. You did a good job reading the book. Y'all did good. I want to thank Mr. Calvin over there in the corner for helping us with the Polar Express. You did a really good job. Your help was instrumental in making it happen. And Mr. Dupree, thank you, sir. And everybody just be safe and enjoy the holidays.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Geis, you have anything, sir?
No, sir, just Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year. And for Christmas, go and adopt a dog from the shelter. They would appreciate it. Congratulations on your adoption. She adopted one. And
We got a beautiful little pit that will just lick you to death down there and wear a belly rub. In case anybody needs a really effect. And I asked Mr. Glenn, I said, how about with other dogs? He said, loves other dogs. Alderman Bostic, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Alderman Bostic, you have anything?
I just wish everybody quite a good Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. We're all here for you here in the city. If you need anything, we all have phone numbers, emails. Feel free to call any of us at any time. If you can't reach one alderman, call another, and we'll tag team and do whatever we can to make sure our citizens are taken care of. Just want to thank you for the opportunity that I have to serve the city, and I know it's a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Johnson, do you have anything, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I just want to thank everybody for your kindness, the flowers, the phone calls, the texts, showing up. It really, really means a lot. I don't take it for granted. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say that enough. I also want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. We do love to take gifts and give gifts, but Jesus is the real gift, and we just need to remember that.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll go through the department heads. Mr. Box, you have anything, sir?
I don't have anything tonight, just wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
If anybody on the board has any questions or comments for any department head, please say so. Yes, sir.
Where are we at, have we, got the, was it the jetter? We buying a brand new?
Yeah, I understood it is, being built here in February, so maybe not too much longer, we'll have that.
Mr. Drew, do you have anything for the board?
No, sir. Other than Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.
Anybody have anything for Mr. Drew? Mr. Andrews, do you have anything for the board?
Yes, sir. I'd like to just bring up one thing. For the coming year, one of the main goals of the planning department is to establish a walkable district in some central location, such as like a downtown Main Street type of area. And so as this is one of our main goals for the next year, I would like to just keep the aldermen aware that we want to get the ball rolling on this as soon as we can, because we're currently keeping all of our options open, and we want to make sure that our zoning use chart is tailored specifically to this walkable type of district. So if any alderman or anybody wants to discuss how we can help with this walkable type of district, then that would be great.
When will the comprehensive plan be presented to the board?
So the comprehensive plan is still in its draft phase. They have to turn in their draft to the planning department. They are behind. They were supposed to get it in before the end of the year, but we've had a bunch of meetings postponed from the company while they continue to work on this draft. And so it's going to be early next year. That's all I can say. It's really not up to us. It's whenever these guys can get it in.
I know you've been working with Alderman Young, his ideas for a city center. That's still ongoing.
Yes, sir. Everything's still going. It's just going through the motions right now. It takes a long time trying to find investors and work through the comprehensive plan and get everybody to agree on this big concept. But everything is going smoothly.
It sounded like what you were talking about earlier about walkable districts might tie in with the city center.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Klein.
Well, in regards to the city center, which is, I think, in the past was called the Old Town Center.
Yes, sir.
Are we pretty much staying with that concept, so we're not having to reinvent the wheel?
Yes, sir. The boundaries of that zone are, we intend to keep it the same. We don't intend to mess with the boundaries, and if that ever does happen, that'll be way on down the road. But we're just, the planning department's just a little concerned about the specific uses in there, especially pertaining to drive-throughs, and we want to make this specifically an area where it's for walking to go eat and shop.
All right. Alderman Young.
I'm glad to hear this. Andrew and I have been working on it quite extensively. And, and there's always ups and downs and lefts and rights. And anybody else who wants to get in on the conversation, you're certainly welcome. it's a lot to juggle. It really is. There is an issue with the OTC, which is the down there town center. It is a old town center. It's where the city hall and the church and all that used to be. And it's zoned specifically for certain items. And as Andrew has brought up, the drive-through market is not what we really want in that area. Once, in my opinion, and this certainly may not be the opinion of the board, but in my opinion, I would think that we would want a developer to come in and stipulate what the buildings are gonna look like, and bring them in and keep it through the planning department, structure it, and do what they want. So with all that in mind, I'd like to initiate an amendment to the zoning use chart to remove the permitted use of drive-through restaurants in the OTC zone, otherwise known as the Old Town Center District. By discussing this through public hearing in a later date of that public hearing, and after having it been advertised in the paper as we're required to do, but I would like to have that removed as a permitted use in that zone.
We're gonna bring it up next meeting, make a motion.
Well, yeah, but I'd like to go ahead and bring that forward.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Do we need the attorney to explain it to the public?
Mayor, I think this will come back up multiple times before we actually finalize anything. But what Alderman Young just did was just initiate a text amendment to the zoning ordinance to make some changes in the OTC zone.
We don't want to surprise anybody or drop it in anybody. Don't drop it on. We want to initiate it and let everybody know this is coming, and it will be, as the planning department and Mr. Billy can bring it forward.
All right, so your motion tonight, if someone was looking at having a fast food establishment there, this doesn't kill it tonight. That means it's gonna come back up.
It's gonna come back up. That is, we gotta put it in the paper, and we gotta have a public hearing and all that, so. But we just wanna, there's no sense in putting a giraffe in a monkey's cage right now, if that makes any sense. Let's just slow down the roll right there in that zone, and because, there are people that are looking at buying that whole thing. Is it gonna happen tomorrow? Hell, I don't know. Is it gonna happen next year? I don't know. Is it gonna happen in August or next? I don't know. But there are people we've looked at it, and there is discussion. We just need to slow the roll on that just a little bit.
We have a motion by Alderman Young, a second by Alderman Dupree. Do we have any more discussion? Alderman Johnson.
I just want to be clear on what you're asking. Are you asking that we vote to make changes tonight?
No,
Or
no,
we're just
to
saying?
initiate the
okay.
conversation.
Okay.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, so what will happen, Alderman Johnson, is the planning department will put a notice in the paper of a public hearing before the planning commission first. And the planning commission will then consider any changes to the OTC, possibly removing drive-throughs as a permitted use, make a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen, and then you'll get that recommendation from the planning commission early in the spring.
No, and that's not, because it's a great question, but it's not taking away drive. They may come through, ABC hamburger joint may come through at a later date once this person buys it, and they conform to their standards of building in that area. Then it would, they're still, but we're just trying to keep them, somebody from coming right in the middle of it and buying a section and throwing up a cheesy hamburger joint. Not saying there's cheesy ones, but well, there are. But, we don't want that to happen. We don't want to cut off our nose to spite our face.
Any more discussion? Alderman Bostic.
Until we get a report from the comprehensive plan, I understand what he's talking about, but until I get that report and what the plans were for that area, where we have a full discussion of what we would like to see done there, I wouldn't be able to vote one way or the other of what he's making a motion to. I just want to make that clear because I just wanted more information from the comprehensive plan and be able to do that.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Yulee.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Absent.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 5 in favor, 1 absent. Well, no, 2 absent. All right. Chief Limbaugh, good evening, sir.
Evening.
Do you have anything for the board, sir?
I don't, just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and safe holidays. Try to be safe out there. No, don't leave your tree lights lit up, or cook on the stove.
Alderman Dupree.
Chief, thank you for helping tear down that trailer. We tore it down. I don't know if y'all saw it, but it was an actual train, cardboard box train. So anyway, tore it down. And Chief Linville was gracious enough to take care of it for us, burn it off.
It's all gone today.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Can't build that train back.
No.
You gotta go
Mr.
buy some
Benz,
more
huh?
material.
Do you have anything for the board, Mr. Ben?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas also, but along those lines, I think, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but we do have a little bit of news that probably could be considered a Christmas gift for the city, and that's, the fact that we recently, received a grant from DOT to do a, safety action plan, which basically we geared it toward, pedestrian safety plan. And so what that will do for you is basically provide a planned study to identify these areas within the city that have had, a history of either accidents or some kind of incidents there, and then we'll provide a measure to mitigate that and to resolve that problem at that intersection or that section of road or whatever it may be. And then, with that definition of those projects and cost, we can go back to the same program. It's called SS4A program, which is Safe Streets and Roads for All, what it stands for through DOT, and we can actually apply for construction dollars to do the litigation of those projects. So, just wanted to pass that on in case anybody hadn't heard, and hopefully, we haven't gotten an agreement yet. The city hadn't signed the grant agreement, but I would anticipate that would be in within the next couple, 3 months.
Is this the $80,000 with Mr. Benz?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I want to thank Congressman Kelly for his hard work in getting us this. And thank you, Mr. Benz.
Yes, sir.
For all the streets that are getting paved. They're really looking good.
Good deal.
Alderman Dupree.
What's the update for the filtration system on that?
He is, he's running a little late, but he said he should be, I got him the other day, it's middle of January is what he told me. I think he was telling us in December.
Yeah,
a little while
we
back.
told us something.
But he's making progress out there. I think there's some
Yeah, I see
painting,
it.
he got some painting and, I forgot exactly what else he did, but just some minor stuff that he got finished up. But middle of January is what his latest estimate is.
Alderman Young.
Two things, Mr. Pence. One, thank you so much for you and Neil Schaefer for getting on that Heathcliff snafu with the paving and everything, but it didn't pass the pressure test. Thank you so much for getting that resurfaced again correctly. And Horn Lake Road looks beautiful. You're doing a really good job on that. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Klein.
So where are we at exactly as far as our, 23, 24 road program? Or we're
In design with the next two phases, there'll be 2 more contracts just like we had this past year. And we're basically looking at we're reshaping our model right now to basically go back and put real numbers in as far as costs that we've had. Now we've got a little bit of 1 year history. We're gonna plug those numbers in and start projecting our future streets that we're gonna do. We'll, as soon as we get the phase 1 developed, we'll let you guys see that, make sure everybody's in agreement with it. But that's kind of where we're kind of developing our model right now to update it and get everything ready to start selecting streets.
thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Chief Puller, do you have anything for the board?
No, sir, Mayor, just Merry Christmas as well.
Thank you. I'm a firm believer that kids shouldn't have all the fun at Christmas. So keep that in mind. You were nice enough to read The Night Before Christmas and did a great job. And I turned on TV last night and there was Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And Chevy Chase was reading The Night Before Christmas. And I thought about you.
Very good. I'll take that. I'm honored.
Anybody have any remarks for Chief Alderman Young?
The police department did an absolutely fantastic thing for St. Jude, taking all them blankets up there. I don't know whose idea that was, but that absolutely was amazing. Horn Lake serves again, and you're to be commended for that. I don't know who did it. Was it your idea, who idea?
That was actually a patrol officer's idea, so I
They
can't,
did a
and what
great
they're
job.
doing with the Facebook page and everything is Lieutenant Grayson, so they are doing an outstanding job.
That's awesome, that they care enough.
Absolutely.
All
Yes,
comes
sir.
down to the leadership.
Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan, did you have anything for the board?
No, sir.
All of y'all are aware of the problems we're having computer-wise. And it's not our IT department, it's the company that provides the software. Is that, am I having that? I'm not a computer person, so I hope I got that right. Is that right?
No, yeah, it's been largely related to the upgrade Munis made us go through.
And Ms. AJ said when she was at that conference, another city told them they've been having problems.
I know a few people at other cities, and
Sir?
I know a few people in other cities, and problems with Munis is a pretty common concern I've heard.
Anybody have any comments or questions, Mr. Jonathan? Miss Julie, since you're sitting in for Mr. Jim, do you have anything from the board?
No, sir.
Anybody have any questions? Here's y'all's chance to get home. All right.
I don't have a question for Ms. Julie, but I do, can I make a statement?
Sure.
I apologize, and I just thought about it when Alderman Young said it. Thank you all for sponsoring the children that I asked about a couple meetings ago. The children were sponsored for Christmas. The police department did step up and come in to provide things for our children, and some aldermen as well. And not only gifts were provided, but also food was provided for my school and some of the students who were in need. So thank you all for doing that. It's not for you all, but just giving back to other people, just thoughtless, not wanting to be named, not wanting to be known for what you're doing. God is pleased with that. So man looks at the outside, but God looks at the heart. So I thank you.
Mr. Billy, do you have anything for the board?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone have any questions, comments? Mr. Campbell? All righty, are we ready for Mr. Barner?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there he is. Good evening, sir.
I don't know if he hears or not.
This gentleman's just gonna show us the proposed, what it'll look like.
Yes, sir,
We're not gonna-
plan. It's not gonna be an in-depth thing down into
It's
the,
down there, yeah, he's gonna click it right there, I think.
I figured that meeting before Christmas, that nobody wanted to be here for 2 or 3 hours.
I believe you're exactly correct, sir. Good evening. Good evening.
See the room, so are you speaking with me, Mayor?
Yes, sir. Good evening to you and a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, actually in Washington State this evening from a hotel room. But glad to be with you. Would you like for me to share my screen, or do you have that images that I pulled up queued up on your end?
I'm gonna turn it over to Alderman Geis right now because I don't know about computers.
Go on and share it.
Let me see if I can share from this end. Did that come up on your end?
It is.
Something's going up.
Sharing the site plan.
I've got that embedded on my computer.
Can you see Mayor?
Video's here and the other one's up there.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
We can hear you.
Yes.
We had the picture, then it left us. Now here it comes. This is a picture of the front view.
Well, so Jonathan, am I sharing my screen? Are you sharing yours?
No, we have it on the computer here.
whatever it is that you're sharing, Jonathan, I see it, so.
It's the front view rendering of the animal shelter.
Okay.
What
Well, we
is,
sent several drawings, we sent a copy of the site plan, that we put color on it so you could, easily see grass versus paving and things like that. And we sent a floor plan, the current floor plan, also with color so you can see the building versus the surrounding area. And we sent two renderings, one of the front of the building and the one that is a bird's eye view, so kind of up in the air a bit. And then we also updated the video. We had done a video some time ago, but we wanted to wait till we knew that we were in budget and everything was good to go before we released that to the public. So we updated that video. We put it to a little bit of music and put some lettering on there.
where would you like to start?
Well, I would start with the site plan. Again, I can't see what you're showing, so if you bring up the site plan, I don't have to see it. I know what it is. I can talk about it.
We're looking at the top view of it.
Yeah, okay.
I downloaded it off of that email.
For everybody that, the school district donated some property. Now, that property has not actually been transferred, the ownership yet. The city civil engineers working with the school district to get all the, the work and approval necessary to actually transfer the ownership. But it's on Center Street, not too far from the existing animal shelter, just a little bit north of there. And essentially, the proposed new animal shelter will be sitting on what was a football field there for many years. It's laying dormant right now. We will have to raise the property. It is in a floodplain, so we are having to bring in some fill dirt to raise the building and the parking up to be above the floodplain. And we have parking in the front for the public. And then over on the side, the south side of the building, we have a fenced-in area for staff parking and where ACO trucks would pull around on the side of the building to bring the animals in to the building. So the staff parking is fenced off to provide some safety for the staff and to some of the things behind the scenes things from the public. But the site is quite large, so we have 4 very large outdoor dog exercise yards, so the dogs can be taken outside for play groups during the day. And I'm glad to answer any questions anybody might have about the site plan.
What is the big white horseshoe, Mr. Michael?
That's actually the old running track. So the front part of the site where we're filling it in will be, covered. The old running track will be covered, but the civil engineer thought, well, that back part, since it's going to still remain, that area could be used for walking dogs. If we had some volunteers to walk dogs, we could use that old running track for that, which we thought was a great idea. And we're not redoing the running track. Of course, that would cost a lot of money, and there is some grass growing through the old surface, but it's still a nice place to be able to use to walk dogs.
Anybody else have a question about the site plan? We're okay with that.
Okay, well, the next sheet I would want to speak briefly about is the floor plan. So if Jonathan, you can bring up that floor plan.
It's up, Mr. Michael.
Okay. What I would say about is the building is segregated into 2 major components. The front building, which is where, the public would enter, there's big covered porch and a lobby for people to come into. And there's cat housing in there. There's a large meeting room that can be used as well that enters from the front. But this is primarily a building for the human components and the other major part of the building is that T-shaped part in the back, and that's where the dog housing. We have housing for 61 dogs. I should mention we have housing for 36 cats in the front building. But that back building has the dog housing, and every dog has what's called two-compartment housing. There's 2 spaces for the dog. One that's indoors and air conditioned and heated, so full round climatized. And then they have a little trap door they can go through called a transfer opening to an outdoor kennel. So each dog can go outside to go to the bathroom, away from their primary enclosure. Food, bedding, and water is located inside. And so this is the current best practice for a dog house to have 2 spaces like this. We do have them segregated. We have stray dogs and adoption dogs, but we also have separated for medical dogs. So any dog that was had some type of a disease or concern for disease, or even just on a quarantine hold, or maybe a dangerous dog, those are housed in a separate wing of the building to be isolated from the public. That I'll just see if anybody has any specific questions about the current floor plan.
Anyone have any questions? No, sir, no one has any questions.
Okay, then the rendering that we sent renderings, if you want to pull that up, Jonathan, the first one is just the front of the building. And let me know when you get that pulled up, Jonathan.
It's there.
Okay, so the front of the building, you'll notice that it has this farmhouse look. So it's kind of a bright color. It has some animal cutouts on it. So, when you see it, you'll know something special about the building. The striking color certainly gets your attention, so it should be very memorable to people. It's got a large front porch, so it kind of has that very open and welcoming feel to it. And there is a little pop-up there on the roof that's above the lobby to let a little bit of natural light down into there. But, it's basically kind of like residential construction. So that front building is primarily a wood frame building with, cement board siding. It does have some stone on it, but it's, wood trusses, wood deck, composition shingles. It's a fairly economical, as far as the skin of the building, fairly economical. We are having a bid alternate for a metal roof. We don't, based on our preliminary pricing, that costs quite a bit extra. So right now, that's the asphalt shingles is our base bid, and we'll see what the price is when we get competitive bids from contractors. Any questions about the front rendering?
Anyone have any questions? No, sir.
I'm kind of excited about the next drawing, which is right behind that one, which is, we call this a bird's eye view. So it's as if you were up in the air a little bit, down on the project, and you can kind of see the whole campus a little bit, so you can see how that front building relates to that back building, in the public parking versus the staff parking that's over on the right-hand side. And you can see those in the back area that they're just chain link fences that section off those dog exercise yards in the back. So this gives a really nice overview, I think, for most people to understand, the overall layout of the property. there any questions about that?
Alderman Dupree has a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the staff parking's to the right. I don't see any parking spaces there.
It's out of his view there.
It's out of view, okay. So the chain link fence opens
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, there's a gate that, for that, to open up, and right now the plan is that to be a motorized gate, so, when the ACO trucks pull up, they would open the gate, pull through, and be able to shut that gate and keep that area back there secure.
Okay, you're showing animals out there. So we're just gonna have to make sure that the animals are put up before we open that gate?
Cutouts on the
Those
gate.
are cutouts on the gate.
Okay, thank you.
Now, you do
Well,
have
that's
one in the
just,
back.
that's correct, that is to make the feeling of the front of the building a little bit more playful. That's one of the least expensive ways that we've found to just put, graphics on a fence to get that look.
All right, I'm sorry for that question. It was just that when you said to the right is for the exercise, and that's to the right for the dogs to exercise. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the
I thought it was
exercise
kids
yard
at first too.
in the back.
What's that, Mayor?
I thought it was pins at first too, don't feel alone. Alderman Klein has a question.
In this, drawing, I don't see any outside lights.
Yeah, the rendering, he didn't put those on, but we have very detailed plans at this point, including electrical drawings that show all the electric plugs and light fixtures, and we do have light poles, shown both in the staff parking area and the public parking area. They're LED lights.
That's a good question. Anyone else have any questions about this screen? No, sir, we have no questions about the rest of the screen.
Well, what I'd like to roll now, if Jonathan's the ability, we sent a little video.
Nice job.
Do you feel like that's about the right length? The first time they ran it, they had it run for about seconds, and I felt like it was too fast. Like it zoomed around the building really fast, and so we had to slow it down a couple different times, and we think it's about the right speed that people would have the patience to sit there. But if you feel like you want it to run faster, or anything else about it that you like to do it differently, you just let us know. But this is for you to be able to show the public as to, you know, what we hope to build.
Well, thank you, sir. Alderman Klein has a question.
Question would be is, once you start building, what would be your timeline in completing it?
Yeah, right now, we don't have a contractor hired, but based on other animal shelters we've done right now, we're saying it's about a 12-month construction period. We hired a professional cost estimator to do the most recent cost estimate, and he thought it was a 12-month job. We also sent those design development documents to a local building contractor, the one that's actually working on the City Hall project, and they've looked at the project and kind of felt like that the price that our estimator determined was, it might actually than that. We don't know, but we're of contractors identified. I sent a list to Jim to verify if these are contractors that the civil engineer that's there in the Horn Lake area proposed, and if we can get a nod on that, we'll talk to the different contractors and see what they feel. But right now we're saying about 12-month construction duration.
Thank you, sir.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Mr. Michael? Well, we thank you, Mr. Michael, and a Merry Christmas to you and yours, sir.
Well, thank y'all for having me. We've really enjoyed working with the city project, and It looks like all the pieces are falling into place. We're working on the final construction documents with the structural engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and the city's civil engineer. So I think the plan is to have the 100% construction documents sealed, signed, ready to go out to bid. I believe it's March 5th. I'd have to look that up. And so hopefully we get the bids. Usually we allow about 2 months for bidding and getting the permit approved, and then be able to start construction right after that. So once we get a contractor identified, we can tighten down on it, that construction duration.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else have anything for Mr. Michael? Mr. Michael, we thank you for your time. Safe journeys home and a Merry Christmas again, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Bye-bye. All right. I think that completes the business for this honorable board. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Young to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Klein. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Julie.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson. Alderman Bostic. Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. This honorable board is adjourned. Merry Christmas.